Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In this Sunday episode, we have the fourth installment of the Twitter files detailing out the Capitol riots, January 6th, Trump being permanently banned, and Michelle Obama putting her foot where it doesn't belong. We got everything for you here, folks, today. Support us by hitting that like and subscribe button. With that being said, on Saturday, Elon Musk and journalist Michael Shellenberger released more documents called the Twitter files detailing out what took place between January 6th and January 8th, 2021, also including a little bit after the Capitol riots. Well, among these files, Shellenberger, the journalist, reported internal and external pressures, including from former First Lady, fell under the company calling for Trump to be banned from using Twitter. Now, this is what Michelle Obama had to say on January 7th, a day after the Capitol riots. Now is the time for Silicon Valley companies to stop enabling this monstrous behavior and go even further than they have already by permanently banning this man from their platforms and putting in place policies to prevent their technologies from being used by the nation's leaders to fuel insurrection. She went on and added, and if we have any hope of improving this nation, now is the time for swift and serious consequences for the failure of leadership that led to yesterday's shame. You gotta love that she's asking for serious consequences for the failure of leadership when literally her husband was one of the worst presidents in American history. And it's not just me saying that. Literally, Thomas Sowell says that as well. For his Iran nuclear deal, that was absolute garbage. He utilized the IRS to go after his political opponents. He went after conservatives with the IRS. His Attorney General, Eric Holder, lied to Congress multiple times. We have emails proving that. There was espionage under the Obama administration. You literally had him using the ATF to give weapons that were basically scribed of any documentation to Mexico, the drug cartel, MS-13 gang members. And then when there was a crime committed, they're like, oh, we'll be able to find him after the crime was committed. You had Border Patrol agents dying. The fact that he handled the Trayvon Martin case, the way that he handled it was a bunch of garbage. I mean, the list goes on and on and on with this guy, but she's going to talk about failure of leadership. Just unbelievable. In addition to former First Lady, the Anti-Defamation League, among several other prominent people and organizations, called for Trump's ban. On the morning of January 7th, then Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey wrote an email to employees instructing them to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return to Twitter after a temporary suspension. Now, Trump was serving a suspension at the time on the platform. What's interesting here is Dorsey seems to be kind of removed from a lot of the stuff. He was either on vacation or didn't know what was going on. He wasn't CC'd or BCC'd on the email. So it seems like he was away from Vijaya and a bunch of executives doing what they're doing. Now, it's interesting that he also says remain consistent in the policies because that is something that Twitter was not doing. You had executives that were refraining from utilizing the policies and coming up with their own policies that weren't actually in the handbook, confusing the lower Twitter execs in terms of what to do. Do we ban this guy? It's never been done before. How are we going to interpret this, interpret that? You're going to see this word interpretation come up in just one moment. And there was a lot of interpretation going on from Twitter and not being applied to others, but it being applied to Donald Trump. The files also showed Twitter maintained a policy called public interest exceptions, where elected officials were not banned as they was a great public interest in their comments, even if they seemed to violate other policies. While Trump's temporary suspension was lifted, this second policy was specifically and intentionally ignored in Trump's case, Shellenberger reported. Dorsey was also on vacation at the time of Trump's ban. Quote, Dorsey was on vacation in French Polynesia the week of January 4th to the 8th, Shellenberger reported. The chief executive delegated much of the responsibility to senior executives, which you see time and time again with these release of these Twitter files, including former Twitter head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, and former head of legal policy and trust, Vijaya Gadde, who Shellenberger points out were overwhelmingly progressive. And overwhelmingly is an understatement because these two people seem to be pulling the strings of others and kind of detailing out who should be banned, who should be suspended, who should be shadow banned, suppressed, all sorts of stuff. You want to see how bad it was at Twitter? In 2018, 2020, and 2022, 96%, 98%, and 99% of Twitter staff political donations went to just guess the party. Yeah, Democrats. Like overwhelmingly Democrats. You think they were used to suppress information? You think they were used to sit there and suppress information for the elections? Well, yeah, you have it detailed out, right? The facts are the facts, but people don't want to look at it. They'll still vote Democrat and not a big deal. Schellenberger also reported in 2017, Roth tweeted that there were actual Nazis in the White House. What an idiot. What an idiot. It just shows you how Roth is just extremely progressive left is shouting, "No, there's Nazis in the White House." It makes you wonder if he knows what a Nazi is. Twitter employees recognize the difference between their own politics and Twitter's terms of service, also known as TOS. But they also engage in complex interactions and interpretations of content in order to stamp out prohibited tweets, Schellenberger also pointed out. As I've mentioned, interpretations comes up a lot. We're just going to interpret this. Even if the interpretation is wrong without any evidence. And we saw that with I believe the second dump of documents, where they were interpreting something of, well, we don't have evidence of what took place right now, but let's err on the side of caution and just suspend and move the person anyways. You see that with the New York Post in the release of the Hunter Biden laptop. They thought it was Russian disinformation. They thought it was misinformation, disinformation. I mean, all this stuff. They didn't have the facts. They literally wrote in the communications, "Oh, well, let's just err on the side of judgment. Let's just remove them altogether." That's their interpretation. That's how they do this stuff. A day after Dorsey's email, Trump was permanently suspended for how his posts were being received and interpreted. Unbelievable. So purely subjective. Talk about going outside your own policies here. After Musk purchased Twitter and took over the chief executive spot, Trump's access to the platform was restored. Trump is yet to return. I don't know if he's going to return because he's on his own Truth Social platform. But it just shows you what's going on. Now, this leads me into not just Twitter, but it makes you wonder what Google's doing. And this leads me to my own channel. We just hit 25,000 subscribers. Thank you for everybody that's joined the show, and we'll continue to grow here. But it makes me wonder how quicker we could grow, because I am in firm belief, just as all of you are, the polls that we post in our community channel are just massive in support that we're being shadow banned, just like Dan Bongino and others. And I've been in communication. I have the receipts to prove it. YouTube is telling me there's nothing going on with the channel. The data proves otherwise. For those that are new to the Bald Brad Show, I was an accountant. I know a lot about data, how to read numbers, how to analyze numbers, right? From financial statements to everything else involving accounting, to the fact that I teach statistics and personal finance. I am a numbers guy. I'm literally a math teacher. They're telling me nothing's going on, that it's all in my mind. All the while, they don't believe any of you, the fact that you guys can't see my content, even though 63 to 65% of my audience as of right now can't see any of my uploads. The impressions that are posted are less than like 5,000, less than 4,000. Impressions is every time you see one of my thumbnails, it counts as somebody seeing it. I'm at like 3,000 to 5,000 range in good videos, in the good videos. I should be like 10 to 15,000 because that should incorporate not just my subscribers, but also other people that aren't subscribers just being thrown my videos out there. But nothing's going on. So what they want me to do, folks, they want me to gather your YouTube IDs. They want me to take screenshots of my poll and do all these things rather than them just going in and actually just removing the stuff that's going on, which I firmly believe is happening. Is it possible that I'm not being shadow banned like what's happening with Twitter? Is it possible that the filters are not being applied to my channel? It's possible. But 2 years ago when I started the show, we would maybe have, 100 to 200 subscribers, and I was still getting like 100 views. My videos now with 25,000 are still getting somewhere less than 150 views for some videos, most videos for that matter. So you're telling me I gained from, 24,800 more subscribers, and somehow my videos are still getting like not a lot of views? And then you guys are all saying you can't see it, and then Twitter's telling me that there's nothing going on? I have the receipts. I have the emails. I'm in communication with them still. Something fishy is going on, folks. Something really fishy is going on. Happened with Twitter. We were told for years this wasn't happening. We were told for years that conservatives weren't being shadow banned. We were told for years that nobody had their hands dipped into whatever may be or may shouldn't be dipped into, like First Lady Michelle Obama here. We were told that celebrities weren't influencing anything. We were told that the Hunter Biden laptop was a fake story. We were told it was Russian disinformation. We were told the Russians meddled in our elections. Told this or told that. It's a bunch of crap. We're all being lied to, just as I feel like I'm being lied to by Google or ABC, Alphabet, whatever the hell the name company is. You all seem to be in the same line where I'm at in terms of we might be getting shadow banned, similar to what happened to Twitter. Seems like they're applying policies to some that they aren't applying to others, just like what happened to Donald Trump here. And I mean, it's just thing after thing here, folks. Let me know what you think about this. This is the 4th drop of the Twitter files. We'll continue. It seems like you guys like this. But also, please go to the poll in terms of, do you see my content or not? I think it's the second poll down. And please do it, because I'm sending it to YouTube this week to show them what's going on and the fact that what they're saying and what I'm seeing is two opposite things, including the data. So there's an update with the Twitter files as well as the Bald Brad Show. And folks, I will see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show.